Hey guys, this is Troy from TroyPoint.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to take advantage of an Amazon Fire TV exploit that will allow you to use a custom launcher, disable firmware updates, disable Amazon's app blacklist, prevent Amazon from restricting more apps with protected status, and access any system files. This is a genius exploit that allows us to take back control of our Amazon Fire TV devices, and special thanks goes out to Pro-me3us and Sweenwolf for their work on this. I don't know when a future update will fix this Fire TV exploit, so if you want to do this, you better jump on it quickly. Everything that I reference will be linked in the notes below this video. Now, there are two ways in which you can do this, and I will show both in this tutorial. One involves a computer, whether that be PC, Mac, or Linux, and the other requires an Android phone or tablet, which is probably the best option in my opinion. Please watch this entire video because you will have questions and I will try to answer all of those within the video. If you don't watch the entire video, more than likely you're going to have problems. I'm starting first with my Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K Max, and then I'm going to move over to the third generation Fire TV Cube. Now, before doing anything, you first want to go into Settings, My Fire TV, About, hover over Fire TV, look on the right side, and look under Software Version. You must have Fire OS 7 or 8. Either one of those will work fine. If you don't have that, you're using an older Fire TV device, this will not work. Now, since we don't know when Amazon's going to push out an update that kills this exploit, I don't suggest checking for updates and installing updates before you do this, because one of the things we're going to have to do is stop over-the-air firmware updates to keep this working. Okay, so I know that this Fire TV device is eligible for this tutorial, so I'm going to proceed. Now, the next thing you want to do is install the free Downloader by AFTV News application. You can get this right through the Amazon App Store, but make sure you're getting the one by AFTV News. There have been some imposters pop up from time to time. Now, after you install Downloader, you're going to go over to the end, hover over the profile image, go into My Fire TV, Developer Options. Now, if you don't see Developer Options in the list, you want to go into About, highlight the name of your Fire TV, and click it 7 times. This will enable Developer Options. Back button. Now we're going to go into Developer Options. You must turn on ADB debugging for this to work because we will be sending ADB commands over to the device. Click that. When you see this, click the checkbox, Always Allow on this network. Click Allow. I'm going to go into Install Unknown Apps. You want to make sure you turn Downloader on. So if this is off like this, just click it to turn it on. Back button, back again. Now I'm going to go back into About, hover over Network, and where it says IP address, that's your local IP address. You want to write that down. Mine is 192.168.1.40. More than likely, yours is going to be different. Write that down. Okay, home button on my remote. I'm going to go into the Downloader app. Now, if this is the first time you use Downloader and you see a message asking you to allow or deny file access, make sure you click the button that says Allow. Up button on the remote, click the OK button. Now I'm going to type in the code for the TroyPoint Toolbox. It's 2509331. Hit go. Now, if this is the first time you are using the Toolbox, I strongly suggest marking this as a favorite within the Downloader app. To do that, hold down on the OK button of your remote for a few seconds. Click Add Current Page to Favorites, save, and then when you come in here in the future, you can just move over to Favorites. You don't have to type the code in. Click TroyPoint Toolbox. It will load without waiting for the 5-second load screen with the ads. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. There's 2 apps I'm going to install. Now, since this exploit allows us to install a third-party launcher, I'm going to choose one of these here. You can choose whichever one is your favorite launcher. For me, it's Project Ivy. This will take over the Amazon Fire TV user interface and provide you with an ability to customize that to your liking. Very powerful. So I'm going to hit download, install. I'm going to click done. We don't want to open it. And when you see this, go ahead and click the delete button. There's no need to leave the installation file on the device. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go under the Utilities section. Next, I want to install Launcher Manager for Fire TV. Do not get the one for Android TV, which is above it. That will not work. We need the one right here for Fire TV. Install, done, delete, and delete again. Okay, back to the home screen. Okay, now I'm going to move over to my Windows PC. Now, if you have a Mac or Linux computer, you can do this as well. Now, keep in mind, if you have an Android phone or tablet, I suggest using that method, which I will show here in a little bit. I think it's easier. But if you don't have an Android phone, if you have a computer, just follow these instructions here. Okay, I'm on my PC, and you're going to see I already opened the TroyPoint Toolbox that we were just using on the Fire TV. I just opened that here on my PC. And the address is troypoint.com/TB. Again, link for this will be located in the video notes below. I'm going to scroll down. I want to go under Windows PC Downloads. And what we want is ADB link. I'm going to choose the Windows download. If you're using Mac or Linux, you'll want one of those options there. Go ahead and install the application. Now, if you see this here, hit the More Info button and then choose Run Anyway. Now, you're not going to see this because my screen capture program is blocking it, but it says, do you want to allow this app from an unknown publisher to make changes to your device? I'm going to choose yes. I get this here. It's asking where I want to install it. I'm just going to use the default location, next, and then you can create a desktop shortcut if you would like. Okay, the application has been installed. I'm going to hit finish. It's going to launch ADB link. Okay, now we need to connect to our Fire TV device. Now, it's very important that your computer is on the same network as your Fire TV device is. This will not work if you're using separate networks. They must be on the same network. Okay, I'm going to choose New. Description, I'm going to call this Fire TV Stick 4K Max. IP address 192.168.1.40. I'm going to leave everything else the way it is and click Save. Now it shows up in the list here and it says disconnected. What I want to do now is just click on that and then click the connect button. And it says connected. Okay, when you first do this, you might get a message on your Fire TV asking to approve the connection. And just like earlier when I enabled the ADB option, I had that box I had to check. Same with you. You may need to check the box to save it for the future and then click allow. I'm not seeing that because I've already done it. Okay, now that we're connected, I need to send an ADB command over to my Fire TV Stick 4K Max. So I'm going to click Council. That's going to open the command prompt. Now I'm going to type in ADB shell, hit enter, and now I'm going to copy and paste the following ADB command, and I will leave this in the video notes below. Now, like I said earlier, we don't have to paste this command if you're using an Android phone or tablet. It's much easier. I'll go through that here in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control V on my keyboard to paste it, and now I'm going to hit the enter button on my keyboard. And you're not going to see a success message when you do that. Okay, now I'm going to move back over to my Fire TV Stick 4K Max. I'm going to go to the screen that shows all of my applications, move down, and Launcher Manager is the last application in this list. Now, one thing I like to do is move this to the front of the list, just in case in the future if I have to move back over to the Fire TV user interface, It's front and center there, easy for me to access. And I'll show you that here in a little bit. So I'm going to move this to the front. I'm going to highlight it, hold down on the OK button of my remote for a few seconds. It's in move mode now. I'm going to put this right in front of my Surfshark VPN shortcut, click OK, back to the home screen, and here it is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and launch that. And now you're going to see the different options we have. First thing I'm going to do is disable firmware app updates. Now, what does this mean? It means in the future, if Fire TV updates come out with new features, you're not going to get those. Personally, that's not a big deal to me because everything that they release is a joke. And it's usually only meant to increase sales on their side. There's been a lot of lockdowns. They don't like us using these third-party launchers because they want us purchasing the various streaming services through their device. This here is going to disable Amazon's app blacklisting. There have been applications that Amazon will no longer allow us to sideload. That's going to take care of that. I'm going to click that. And we're going to turn off system app protection. And now we're going to come up here and choose the launcher we want to use that's going to replace the Fire TV user interface. So I'm going to choose custom launcher. And remember, we already installed a launcher we want to use through the TroyPoint Toolbox. I'm using Project Ivy. You can use whatever launcher is your favorite. Now, after doing that, you have to still move up where it says custom launcher. You have to click that to make it active. You're going to see all these codes at the bottom go flashing across the screen. That's showing what's happening in the background. Okay, everything should be good to go. I'm going to hit the home button on my remote. It's asking what launcher do I want to set as default. I'm going to choose Project Ivy and then say always. Now remember, you can always come back in here and change the launcher you're using if you want to try something else. And later in this video, I'll also show how to reverse all this and go back to the state that it was in before going through all this. So I'm going to choose always. And now we go through the setup for Project Ivy. And now we have the Project Ivy setup wizard. Right arrow on my remote to go through these screens here. I'm going to choose allow for this. Grant notification, access, and special permissions. Hit yes. Now, some of these we can't enable because Fire TV has blocked them. More than likely, that's the case for Project Ivy. Not a big deal. It will still work. Now, I am going to go ahead and allow this. Back button a few times. Allow anonymous usage and crash reporting. I'm going to say no. Hit get started. And now we have a launcher that we can customize to our liking. Now, the bottom message there, accessibility service, we're going to want to get rid of that. And we can't enable accessibility service on the Fire TV, but I will show you how to shut that message off. Go to settings, Project Ivy launcher settings, accessibility service. I'll just show you this here. If we go into show accessibility settings, do you want to turn it on? Yes. On Android TV boxes, it shows an option to turn this on for Project Ivy. However, it doesn't, as you can see on Fire TV. Back button, back again. But what we want to do is turn off that reminder so we don't keep seeing that. Okay, I'm going to go back. And there's all kinds of different things that you can do with Project Ivy. You can rearrange these rows. You can hide them. You can move these shortcuts around. You can create new categories. This is TV apps. I'm going to go back into settings. Categories, and this is where you can set up the different categories on the screen. You'll see they already have a favorite section, so I'm going to go ahead and click that, and you'll see it's already visible. The reason it's not showing on the screen is because we haven't added any apps to it. So to do that, we just go back here. I'm going to highlight a couple applications. Surfshark, hold down on the OK button of my remote for a few seconds, move down, move to favorites. And you'll see there, it now shows up here. Same thing with TV Mate. We'll move that as well. And then you can also create other categories if you would like. And I will come out with an in-depth Project ADB tutorial in the future. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is how to access Fire TV settings. Now that we have this new launcher, we still need a way to get into the Fire TV settings area. Move up, click the gear icon, choose Android settings, and now it's asking, how do you want to complete this action? It gives us the option to either use Amazon settings or Launcher Manager. You want to use Launcher Manager. Common sense would say we probably want Amazon settings. You don't. That will not work. You want to complete action using Launcher Manager and choose Always. And now you're going to see it opens our settings panel. Since we're in here, I do want to show you something. I'm going to go into My Fire TV, About, check for updates, and you're going to see it says update error. That's a confirmation that this is working and it's blocking the over-the-air updates that could possibly patch this exploit and prevent all of this from working in the future. Home button on my remote. And another area that you're probably going to want to get into is the App Store. You can do that by going into App Store here, move down, click App Library, and then you can come over here and search for what you want to install. Home button on the remote. And again, I will show how to reverse all of this later in the video and go back to what we had prior to going through this tutorial. Okay, before moving on and showing how to do this with the Android app, now is a perfect time to get my free Fire TV Secret App Store guide that will show you how to install third-party app stores that Amazon doesn't want you to know about. Now you can access the secret applications that Amazon was trying to block that we just circumvented in the previous steps. To get the guide, simply click the link in the video notes below or open the camera app on your phone or tablet. Scan this QR code and the free video guide will be delivered to your inbox immediately. Now I'm going to move over to my third generation Fire TV Cube and show you how to do this with an Android phone or tablet. It's actually easier in my opinion. Okay guys, I'm on my third generation Fire TV Cube. Now I've already done a few things to save time. I just repeated the steps we went through in the earlier part of this video. I already installed Launcher Manager for Fire TV through the TroyPoint Toolbox with the Downloader app. I also installed Project ADB Launcher. So you need to make sure that you install Downloader on this device. Go through the same steps I did earlier. You also want to go into Settings, My Fire TV, About. First, we want to make sure that we can even do this. And you'll see on the right side under software version, it says Fire OS 7. Again, this is only available for 7 and 8. Next, I'm going to go into network. IP address, I'm going to write that down, 192.168.1.33. Developer options, and I'm going to turn on ADB debugging. Now, for some reason on this device, I don't get that pop-up asking me to approve it, but you might on yours. More than likely, that's something to do with Fire OS 8, which we saw earlier on my Fire TV Stick 4K Max. Okay, back to the home screen. The main thing I'm trying to get across, though, is that you still must first install these through the free TroyPoint Toolbox that I showed in the earlier steps. Okay, over to my Android tablet. I'm going to open the Chrome browser, and just like we did earlier on my Windows PC, we're going to troypoint.com/TB. Again, link located in the video notes. I'm going to scroll down. We're looking for Fire TV Toolbox. Now again, you can do this on an Android phone or tablet. It doesn't matter which one. And a reminder, this phone or tablet must be connected to the same Wi-Fi network as the Fire TV you're dealing with. I'm going to hit download. Now, since I've already done this in the past, it's saying, do you want to download again? Because I already have it on my device, yours will just say download. I'm going to open it. Do you want to install this app? I'm going to install. Now, when you first do this, if you haven't installed something through your browser, you may be asked if you want to install unknown apps through that browser. You're going to say yes. And you're basically turning on unknown sources for the browser. So I'm going to hit install. Open. And now we have the Fire TV Toolbox. Now all I'm going to do is come down to the bottom line. Tap that. I'm going to get rid of that address. Now I'm going to type in my IP address of my 3rd generation Fire TV Cube. 192.168.1.33. Hit connect. Now if it doesn't connect right away, hit it again. Now quickly I'm going to switch over to my Fire TV so you can see what's going on over there and the message I'm getting. I'm going to choose always allow from this computer and then click OK. Back to my Android tablet. Now the only thing I have to do is hit the go button behind Setup Launcher Manager. What that's doing is it's sending the ADB command over to my Fire TV Cube. Rather than pasting the code in like we did earlier on the computer, hitting this go button sends the command. We don't have to do that. And that's why this option is easier in my opinion. So I'm going to hit the go button. Bottom says setting up Launcher Manager. Now back over to my Fire TV Cube. Launcher Manager automatically opened on my device, as you will see here. And now I'm going to do the same thing I did on my Fire TV Stick 4K Max. I'm going to turn off updates, turn off blacklisting, and turn off app protection. Move up, choose my custom launcher. Again, you need to make sure that you've already installed the third-party launcher for this to work. I showed that earlier in the video. And now I come up and hit custom launcher status. Everything should be good. I'm going to hit the home button on my remote. It's asking what launcher we want to use. I'm going to choose Project Ivy, always. Quickly go through the setup here. And here we have the launcher, home button. Everything's working. You'll see the annoying accessibility message at the bottom. So I'm going to go into Settings, Project Ivy Launcher Settings. Accessibility Service, we're going to turn that off. That reminder. Now we need to tell the Fire TV Cube how to handle settings. So I'm going to choose Android Settings. It's saying complete action using. You don't want Amazon settings. You want to use Launcher Manager because there's code within the app that tells it to open the settings on the Fire TV. So I'm going to choose Launcher Proxy, LM Launcher Proxy, always. And now we get our settings. Go into My Fire TV, About, check for updates, and you'll see that that is now blocking updates. Home button on my remote. Everything is working as it should. Okay, and the last thing I want to leave you with is how you undo everything that we just did if you want to put your Fire TV back to the normal state. It's very easy. Just do everything in reverse. Go into Launcher Manager. I'm just going to go through these here. We're going to enable these three options. And then we're going to turn off Custom Launcher. Home button on my remote. Now you may notice it takes a few seconds for this to work. Push it again, and now we're back to the original user interface. And that's the reason I put this here front and center, because there may be times you do want to come back to the original user interface. And it's just then easy to pop back in here. And all you have to do is, since we already have the custom launcher set at Project Ivy, all you have to do is press this button here for custom launcher status. Back to the home. Now it's asking us again, do you want to use Project Ivy as your home? Always. So to undo everything, again, you're going to enable all of these again. Turn off custom launcher. Home button on the remote. May take a few times. And now all you need to do is uninstall Launcher Manager. Now I will show you first, before we do that, check for updates is now working. Back button, applications, manage installed applications, Launcher Manager, uninstall. Confirm. Now everything is back to normal. And if you wonder what happened with the ADB command that we sent earlier, it has deactivated that because we have uninstalled the application that was dealing with. So everything is back to exactly how we started. Lots of people have moved on to Android TV, Google TV streaming devices because of the blocks and lockdowns Amazon was putting in place, and now you can pull these Fire TVs out of the drawer and start using them again with your favorite apps that you sideload. As a reminder, all the links and notes will be available in the video description below. Also, if you like this, don't forget to get my free secret app store guide that will show you how to install third-party app stores that Amazon doesn't want you to know about. Simply click the link in the video notes below or scan this QR code and the guide will be delivered to your inbox immediately. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel for many more videos like this in the future. As always, have a great day, and thanks for following Troy Point.